being here in our book club. We are regularly 30 members, and today you have, as you can see, the house is full. Besides, yes, and besides that, we have so many coaches in our region connected online, as well as their clients too. So, Judy, thank you very much again. We know you are such a busy woman. So, without further ado, the mic is yours.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm delighted that you've been reading my book. You know, what I love to tell people is I was, bullied and shy, and nothing happens without people. And particularly when you're trying to find clients. So I worked with Thomas Leonard, who invented the coaching industry. So I know a fair bit of coaching, but how could I most help you?
Well, wonderful. We are so shy now. Don't worry. Well, there are so many questions that one of the questions is, Cesar. Cesar said, what do you think is more important in a person? Their contacts or their ability to help you?
That can be both. So some people may not have the ability to help you, but they may have very deep, robust contacts that could be important for you. So most people know about 600 people, and it's good to share your story and tell them what you need. Because most people will help you if you tell them, but sometimes they may not be able to tell you or help you, but they'll often turn their head and go, oh my gosh, you need to talk to Joe or whoever. And so it depends. As long as you're clear on the outcome of what it is you may need or what you're looking for, then certainly ask. You've read in there about the 2 golden questions. What other ideas do you have for me, and who else do you know I should talk to? And this is really important for all of you when you're building your clientele and working with other people and getting recommendations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. There is another that it is worthy to dress with expensive clothes.
Well, today, I have been out with my horses and out for a walk, so I'm not dressed up. But it's, I've always felt sad when I was young. I thought, why don't people just treat me for who I am rather than, what I've got on? But I have found it really is important, particularly as you get higher paying clients and you want to come across as very professional, and I think it may be a bit different in different cultures. But just for example, this is a Cartier watch that I got at Costco for about $3,000. I was going to be on Oprah, and a stylist said to me, you need to look the part, sound the part to be the part. And so it is somewhat important, at least for grooming, being clean and neat. But when you start moving into, higher end professionals, you need to dress at their level and sometimes a little better. Because when you look sharp, I think they estimate people can judge you within 15 seconds of your socioeconomic status. And for men, they look at your shoes and your watch.
Yes. Well, there is another. Who will you hire for a public relations position? A talent person or a networker?
Probably now that depends. So I've got a new book coming out that's going to be on, whoops, my kitty is going to join he just jumped up on the computer. So for PR, for like a book, it's nice that people understand PR, but if they don't have the right connections, it doesn't help me. So I just hired a woman named Sandra Smith. she can pick up the phone and call people at the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, Forbes. And so, particularly for me, for the book, that would be important. If it's just for, you know, your coaching business, then it depends on how you most acquire customers. And you're troubled. He was almost starved to death when I found him, and now look at this gut. So if you're talking about finding PR people for yourself, I think it's most critical that you have a website, that you have a professional picture of yourself, that you make sure that you tweet 3 to 5 times a day, or if you're going to get a PR firm, make sure they have one that does that. Plus, get a LinkedIn presence. So the majority of professionals nowadays, 400 million, are now on LinkedIn. And if you want to reference my PR gal, Pam, you know, she works for like $2,000 a month, but she'll probably do an entire organization. She posts for me and helps. I now have 55,000 Twitter followers, over 5,000 on LinkedIn.
Wow, wonderful. And referring to that LinkedIn, Judy, you mentioned in your book how important it is to be in that social network. But how do you consider to having a blog and to post frequently, giving, you know, value, giving some advisors? Do you think it's enough, or do you also recommend to combine with some ads to be more proactive, that the people can buy what you are selling? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it, so I'll tell you a secret. Most people don't know this. The #1 place people now get information is LinkedIn. So if you write a very short blog, 600 words, and, you know, have a couple of pictures and tell some stories, that is probably one of the more powerful things that you can do. I don't know about ads. If you were going to run them with like a social media campaign, like off of Facebook, I've had many friends that have found success with that, but it's a lot of work. You have to, you know, make sure the message is right and all of that stuff, and they do A/B testing, you know, test one ad against the other to make sure you're getting the best impact that you can. But I would tell you, usually for professional level services like you have, probably the majority comes from word of mouth. And I would also make sure that you get into kind of some high-powered groups. So go, you know, you think about who is the customer that you want, or who is your typical customer, and then find out where those people hang out. You know, some people just focus on accountants or lawyers. There's many coaches in the United States, and I'm sure in Mexico, that just focus on CEOs. And so there's organizations that cater to those in the United States, and I'm sure in Mexico there's the Association of Corporate Growth that has CXO level people. And then there's all of these kind of private events that if you're smart, you can figure out how to get yourself invited to. Renaissance Weekend, a thing some of my friends are doing, and people pay for their own way, but it's just a way to get together with new people so you get to know them, and there isn't a lot of pressure on, don't you want to hire me?
Yes, hey, thanks for writing the book. It was really, really good. It is very good. So here's my question. When you're asking someone, how may I help you, when doing a follow-up or when you first meet, how to not sound salesy, like you're pushing, trying to sell something, but sounding really honest about what can I do for you?
Yeah, so, you know, I found out, it took me a while. I thought everybody else had more money than me, and they were from better families. But it took me a while to figure out everybody alive has got problems. Everybody needs help. And so I learned how to add value very quickly. And often people will tell you and say, what is your favorite project, or what do you love, what you're involved in right now? And then you can think in your head, you know, do I know anyone that may be good for them to connect with? So you can make an introduction to them. You can recommend a great book that you've read. You can forward an article. One of the newsletters that I follow is quartz.com. It comes out daily, and it has information from all over the world. So I do try to gather some curated information that is really good to share with other people. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, right at the first, I mean, really the focus needs to be on building a relationship, particularly when you want these people to refer people to you. And, you know, attorneys are always dealing with people that are having conflicts, accountants. There isn't anybody out there, in my humble opinion, that doesn't need a coach. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a famous basketball star or whatever. Everybody does better if they have someone that helps them be accountable. So I guess part of that would depend on who you're trying to build the relationship with.
Yeah, we are here, Judy, so many people with different kind of business.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's not only coaching. There are so many kind of businesses here, no? Manufacturing and IT business. So there is a mixture of any kind of businesses. Yes.
Well, good. So in business, again, you think about where your clients are, or what is that next level that you want to grow your business to. And you can certainly look at your competitors and find out what they've done, look at their media sites, Google.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So any, you know, just think about where it is you want to grow your business. And I'm happy. I mean, you guys can email me if you want specific questions or some ideas. It's just Judy at judyrobinett.com. No E on the end. But I'm happy to do some brainstorming with you. You know, I'll give you an example. I had a friend who was a really high-end executive coach. He gets $250,000 a year for meeting with people once a month. And he wrote a short little book of his best advice, and he gave it out to the Mercedes dealership and, you know, the very luxury car market, and had them give a book to everybody that bought a new car, and he got lots of referrals. And often you find that, you know, the Chamber of Commerce isn't so good because everybody's like you. So then you start thinking of, are there industry groups? But I really tell people to try to find groups that have different industries that you're likely to get a contract.
Yeah. Perfect. Victor, Judy, do you have time for 2 more questions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Judy. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. I have a question referring about the final part of your book. If the women are better connectors by nature, why do you think the gender inequality intensifies in the senior managers?
Okay, I didn't understand the last part. If women are better connectors, why?
By nature.
Yes. If a woman are better connectors by nature,
Yep.
What do you think gender inequality intensifies in senior managers?
Yeah, so, you know, it's really interesting. I'm 65, and when I was in my 20s, I thought by the time I got to this age, we would have equal, but we don't. We really don't. And in the United States, I think it's about 5% of corporate boards are made up of women. Even though the statistics show your ROI, your profits of a company will be higher if you involve more women, because women make the majority of the decisions for the home. You men know. You can advise it without going home and talking to your wife. Happy life, happy wife. And you know, it is sad, but I have seen, you know, some good changes. One of the changes I'm seeing is more women are starting their own businesses. And so that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, keep going, I'm good. I went from shy to really liking to talk.
Well, this is another question. Gabi is a woman who said in the book, when it refers to women, it mentions that women don't have the same opportunities because people see them weak. And if we women get demanding, people see us as our witches or bitches. Do we still live in a misogynist? How do you pronounce?
Yeah.
Miso-
Men that don't like women.
Misogynist world, regardless of the culture.
You know, I think we're getting better in all cultures. I was at the United Nations last month and I met with all of these women from Saudi Arabia who for the first time can drive.
Wow.
So, I mean, for the first time. So, I mean, in Mexico, the United States is nothing like in the Middle East or in India. So I do think that things are getting better. And one of the things that, you know, I did as a young woman is I volunteered for like United Way, some of the high-powered not-for-profit boards that I could gain leadership experience and with money. And it's good for all of us. I mean, men, everybody. And besides that, then you'll rub shoulders with people that have a lot of money and that can open doors for you. And so, you know, I usually tell people, let people see who you are. And you may have to work hard, but the reality is that if you add value, people want you around because a lot of people don't do much. You know, you think about how many people say to you, oh, I'm going to do this for you or I'm going to do that. And they often don't. And so if you just follow through, and you follow through like the same day, you're in the upper 2% of people on the planet. I mean, really. And everybody, I mean, every one of you has wonderful gifts. I really believe that God sends us to earth and we have different gifts, but we can't do much by ourselves. But if you get more comfortable being a little, you know, vulnerable and telling stories about yourself, you find out other people are just human. You know, they've got worries about their family, their money, their health. And Michael Milken, who was the billionaire that, you know, went to prison for junk bonds, and he's now out, has a huge foundation called the Milken Foundation, and he said everybody only cares about those things: family, their, you know, their health, their money, and I always add pets. I find people, you know, love their pets, and so you just find some common ground, and on those you can.
Yeah. And talking about that, Judy, there is a question that giving first is a powerful strategy, as you said in your book, or giving first is something common and that generates trust. But
yes.
what kind of help can be given in an elevator speech? I mean, when you are talking to your elevator speech, how do you show that you can help, you know, the person giving without expecting receiving?
Yeah, well, you know, I just make it a rule to be generous and to help best I can. So this is probably the hardest part for people because it's dealing with strangers. And I really don't like the elevator speech. Hi, I'm an attorney. I do litigation. I would, you know, rather talk personally with people, and then if they ask you what you do, you can certainly tell them. So, you know, I focus first on just developing a relationship rather so much as an elevator pitch, because I don't know many people will hire you on the first meeting, you know, so but if they like you and they get to know you, so your job is to get the second date. then they will. Because research shows time and time again, even if your skill level isn't as good as another person, if they like you, they will hire you. Because people want people they can trust and that will be honorable, transparent with them.
Hello, Judy. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
I already have a network of contacts, but I haven't applied your principles. How can we get back to those contacts to apply your principles of giving without looking weird? You know, I have been,
yeah.
You understand? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So, you know, it turns out even if you haven't got in contact with people for years, they will often get back to you and say they're delighted, and you can just say, you know, I got caught up with my life, that you're an important person, you know, here's what's going on with me, and share what's going on with you. And you can say, if you'd like to grab coffee, I'd love to get together. But I would target people that you think can help you strategically meet your goals, either themselves or that they're a good networker, that they have connections. And I always add on the bottom of emails, is there, you know, happy to help. I like trying to send the message that I'm happy to help, but most people, even if you haven't met them, haven't talked to them in a long time, will get back to you. I mean, I've had people that I went to college with, and I was actually thrilled to hear from them.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, Judy, a pleasure to meet you. Well, you speak earlier about the socioeconomic difference between population. And especially in Latin America, there's a great difference. Most powerful are like a kind of a private club. So
Yeah.
how can someone who doesn't belong to that club, that kind of people, get to them, especially focusing on the adding value to them?
Yeah, well, you've made a good start. You've got really nice, shiny shoes. You're well dressed. You've got good grooming. You can ask around and find people who may know somebody in the group. I would do some research on Google on some of those people. There's always some people in the group that will be kind and possibly mentor you in to the group. And you can look at what they may need in their business and then offer to help, offer an introduction or offer something. But, you know, so for example, I don't know if I had it in the book, when I was in Salt Lake City, Utah, I met a guy, and he's black and he's gay. He'd been recruited by a big wealth management firm to come to Salt Lake, which is predominantly white Mormon straight guys. But within 2 years, he had this huge business, millions upon millions of dollars. And I said to him, how did you do this? You come to this town, you don't know anybody. And he said, you know, I joined the symphony and I paid a little extra so I could go to the little wine tasting before the event. And that's where all my clients hang out. So you will find that the wealthy people are often, you know, at high-end music events, art shows, stuff that you can easily access.
Well, Judy, thank you very much for your time. But before you make your living, I mean, because you are very busy, we would like to have a picture with you and with your book.
Okay.
We are reading in LinkedIn. Yes. So. ¿Sí?
So where are you in
En
Mexico?
Spanish.
Let's see.
Networking Estratégico.
Monterrey.
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 Yeah, Monterrey, okay.
So, okay, continuamos aquí. Pongan ahí el libro, pongan ahí el libro.
Ahí voy yo primero.
El libro que no lo tienen.
Yo lo
Ahí
hice
va.
todavía.
1, 2, 3. Ahí va otra. Listos.
I mean, most people out there are really good. I mean, 95% of people are good and they will help you. And so get comfortable with asking and have a great life.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.